The story began with a profession that was almost impossible to master. The story began with a profession that was nearly impossible to pull off. Some people made a living with guns, others survived with their brains, and Arthur Bishop had both. Whenever he took a job, he always made the hit look like an accident. In this line of work, he almost never failed. His reputation once made many people uneasy just hearing his name. But after so many years, he had grown tired of that life. So he staged an accident. He made the whole world believe he had died. After that, he changed his name. Then he went into hiding in Brazil. He lived alone by the ocean, far away from everything in his past. He thought he could keep living quietly like that forever. But the peace didn't last long. One day, a mysterious woman suddenly showed up at his door. She got straight to the point. Her boss wanted Arthur Bishop to come out of retirement. All he had to do was eliminate 3 people, and every single one had to look like an accidental death. After explaining the deal, the woman added one more line: "If you refuse, we'll let everyone know you're still alive." Arthur Bishop hated being threatened. He took out his phone, quickly snapped a picture of her face. The next second, he knocked her to the ground. One of Crane's men rushed in to attack, but Bishop dropped him in a single move. Then Bishop turned and ran. The woman quickly realized there was only one cable car leading down the mountain. She immediately sent people after him, but when they arrived, Bishop was nowhere inside the cable car. He had been hiding on the roof the whole time. The cable car was almost at the top. He needed to lose them fast. Right then, he noticed someone paragliding in the distance. Bishop suddenly came up with a bold idea. The next second, he jumped toward it and grabbed onto the paraglider. The girl flying it was completely startled. Even the woman inside the cable car froze. No one expected him to escape like that, since his location had been exposed. Brazil was no longer safe. Bishop packed his things and quietly left the country. He traveled to Thailand. There, he hid for a while at a resort owned by his friend May. Many years earlier, Bishop had once saved May's life. They were the kind of friends who trusted each other completely. Bishop had also stayed here before. The house he used back then had been kept exactly the same by May. Nothing had ever been changed after May left the room. He said, "If you want Gina to stay alive, you'll do 3 things for me. Take out 3 people, and every time, it has to look like an accident. To save Gina." Bishop had no choice but to agree. The first target was an African warlord named Adrian Cook. Cook had made too many enemies. Now he was hiding inside a prison on a remote island in Malaysia. The prison sat on a cliff hundreds of meters above the sea. The waters around it were filled with sharks. An ordinary person had no chance of getting inside, let alone reaching the target. But Arthur Bishop was never an ordinary person. He checked Malaysia's wanted list, found a criminal who looked a lot like him. Then he copied the same tattoo onto his face. He created a fake passport and started preparing his gear. He pressed plastic explosives into thin sheets, each one about the size of a piece of gum, then slipped them back into the gum wrapper. Next, he hid a fuse and locator inside a cigarette. Finally, he squeezed shark repellent paste into a hair wax container. Once everything was ready, Bishop pretended to be that wanted criminal. He went out on the street and deliberately provoked the police. Within seconds, they tackled him to the ground. When the officers checked his passport, they saw the name on the wanted list. So they arrested him immediately. Just like that, Bishop was sent straight to the island prison. During the security check, the guards only saw a few normal personal items. So they allowed him to bring everything inside. Not long after that, Bishop finally saw his target. Because Cook had so many enemies, he even kept bodyguards inside the prison, making it look like an accident wouldn't be easy. So Bishop waited. He waited for the right moment. One day, Cook was working out. Suddenly, one of his enemies rushed forward, trying to attack him. Bishop saw the whole thing. Just before the attacker succeeded, Bishop threw a knife. It knocked the weapon right out of the man's hand. Cook was startled, but at the same time, he began to trust Bishop. Later, he invited Bishop to have dinner with him. He even considered recruiting him. But during the meal, Bishop suddenly made his move. He wrapped a wooden stick around Cook's neck, pinned him against the window. One hand pressed on his throat, the other covered his mouth. Cook didn't even get a chance to shout. Within moments, he stopped moving. After that, Bishop mixed several strong liquors together, then poured the mixture into Cook's mouth, creating the appearance of alcohol poisoning. The bodyguards outside sensed something was wrong. They rushed into the room. Bishop stayed completely calm. He said, "The boss just had a little too much to drink." The bodyguards saw Cook sitting upright. So they didn't dare get too close. Then Bishop walked toward the prison wall. He placed the plastic explosives on it. and lit the fuse in the control room. The prison warden immediately noticed something unusual. The entire prison went on alert. As the guards rushed closer, Bishop quickly swallowed the locator. He took off his shirt, then spread shark repellent all over his body. The next second, boom, the wall exploded open with a huge hole. Bishop rushed through it and jumped straight into the ocean. After confirming that Gina was still safe, Arthur Bishop decided he wouldn't let Raya Crane control him anymore. Soon, a cone-shaped expanding charge was ready. This device had to be timed perfectly. Even the smallest mistake would ruin the whole plan. Once everything was ready, Bishop disguised himself as a maintenance worker and entered the building using a copied key. He unlocked the room beneath the swimming pool. Then he took out his tools. First, he attached suction cups to both sides of the glass. Then he secured them with a rope. After that, he removed the rubber seal around the glass frame. With a gentle push, a narrow gap appeared in the glass. Now came the most dangerous step, using only two suction cups. Bishop slowly climbed up the glass panel. Before long, he reached the exact spot beneath the pool. Later, Bishop took a sniper rifle and went to the hospital helipad. From a distance, he shot and wounded a guard at the fortress. The hospital quickly received an emergency call asking for a rescue helicopter. Bishop had already hidden inside the helicopter. After it landed, he quietly slipped into the fortress. First, he used a signal jammer to disable the surveillance system. Then he moved inside. During the confusion, he took out several guards. After that, he climbed into the ventilation ducts. At the same time, Max Adams had already received the alarm. He got into the elevator and headed for the safe room, but he didn't know that Bishop was already waiting in the air ducts. Bishop dropped an M26 grenade. Max Adams immediately realized the danger. He ordered his men to pry open the elevator door, then rushed straight into the safe room. But the moment he locked the door and turned around, he saw Bishop already aiming a gun at him. Yet Bishop didn't fire, because he had realized something. Crane had been using him to eliminate his rivals. If Max Adams died, Bishop would no longer be useful, and at that point, Crane would most likely get rid of Gina. So Bishop suggested they work together. They would take down Raya Crane, but first, Max Adams needed to help stage a scene. In the end, they reached an agreement. They set off an explosion and made it look like Max Adams had died. When the prison guards arrived, they fired wildly at the ocean, but none of the shots hit anything. Meanwhile, Crane's men had already prepared a pickup using the locator signal. They pulled up their fishing net, but when they looked inside, there was nothing there. In the end, Arthur Bishop used a much bigger plan to escape the pursuit and rescue Gina. But the real question is this: can a man who can design death to look like an accident ever truly walk away from that life? If it were you, do you think Bishop would stay retired or eventually return to the game? Let me know what you think in the comments.